Hello everyone. Last week I decided that I needed a break and wanted to get back into the swing of things with Unreal Engine. So I'm creating a game where the main premise is you're a biologist, namely a botanist. That's where the focus is going to be. You are put onto a planet loosely resembling the Earth to study and create fauna that you have to send the data back to your corporate overlord. You will create a factory to explore and sell biology and data and the plants you create. And if you don't, the company will just come to you and just jab you. That's a joke. I do plan on making like some kind of system where you can actively go against the company and they will try to off you, but we'll wait for that for a while. Now, I left Unreal Engine about a year ago. It will be a year once April arrives. I was originally in version 5.2, but I left just to vibe around and create my own engine and games outside of like Unreal, Unity, or other pre-made ones. My current project, oh my god, I've been trying to create a H.264 raw video decoder. It's not happy with me. I've been bashing my head against the wall for the past 2 months. But I'll spare you the details. This is a new channel, new projects. This was only started a week ago and I'm focusing mostly on prototyping in blueprints before I do anything else. So I don't have a whole lot to show off, but I'll go show what I have so far. First off, I have like plant growing and plant data. As of right now, there is only one plant with like a small growth timer. Most of my focus on has been how the actual hell do I make this bullshit dynamic. I originally had like a primary data asset connected to, or I originally had a data asset connected to a primary data asset, but then I just remembered that you can't create data assets at runtime. So that threw a pretty big wrench. I switched to data tables and then almost immediately realized the same exact thing. So right now I'm just using raw structs, which isn't really too big of a deal. They were structs to begin with. I just wrapped them in a data table or data asset because I forgot you could just use structs in Blueprint. I thought you had to like do something special with the wrapper, but no, you can just use them. My current structure for like the plant data and everything is really simple. I have a array of plant objects to act as a main registry. I also have like some of them copied to a couple of maps, one for name and one for index, so I can easily get them without looping through the array, which is going to be really helpful if there ends up being a lot of them. I do have like one main plant structure though. It's like an array of plant structures and then plant structure. Within that plant structure, I have, outside of the name, I have several more arrays. One is for the IDs. You got like the self ID, the mother plant, and the father plant, so I can like easily reference them if I need to create new values for growth times or yield values or whatever. There's another array for growth values, like the stage, the growth stage, and the time that takes for them to grow. There's one for growth requirements, which is essentially the same. It just uses booleans, like has correct soil nutrients or whatever. And then there is also one for the meshes that uses while growing. I'm not too sure how scientifically realistic I want this to be. I have to kind of decide that when I create the breeding system. But in order to do that, I need to get all the values down, because it's going to just be a slog of just a bunch of random ass values. I do have some textbooks I may use as a template for ideas, like what's it called? I think it's called Plant Systematics by Judd and Kellogg. I just don't really remember their names. I just see Judd and Kellogg a whole lot, but I'm not really too interested in the classifications though. I kind of feel like they could get in the way. What I'm more interested in is maybe I could convey the ideas of how classifications can change. It sounds a little simple. It's working a whole lot better in my head than it is coming out of my mouth. I know that for a fact. But it's not the classifications I'm interested in. It's the like evolution of ideas. For example, within the first edition of Plant Systematics, I'll put like the paragraph, because I know this isn't exactly correct, but this is the idea. There's like a what is our definition of plants within this book? And then it's like blah 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 something something, and then it brings up specifically fungus and says They don't really share much with other plants. They're closer to animals. This was written in 1993. I don't know exactly what the state is, or rather was, with fungus being considered a plant, but it is pretty different now. That's like the type of stuff I enjoy. Other than the plant growth structure and just like underlying data, I have a building system. It's pretty much probably the simplest thing I have so far. I created a component where I can just press a B and this little mesh appears with a holographic material thingy I added rotation with the scroll wheel, and when you press you can just like spawn a plant. It doesn't really have anything too big about it. It's just a building system, pretty much as simple as a building system you can get. I do have like some other littler things I will toss in here as well. I needed to get the project version for my HUD because I wanted to have the project version in the top corner like you see. But funniest thing is, I mysteriously can't find the get project version node. So and now I'm not too sure about this one. I know Unreal Engine has changed, but it's entirely possible that this version node hasn't been there for a long while because I always end up creating a version node. But I know at some point it was there and it's gone now. They stole it from me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I made my own. It's not really. There was only one hiccup, and that's because they like removed the miscellaneous slash file path and they merged things into the core. That took me a good minute to figure out before I realized, it's in the F app thing now. So it's there, I guess. Not really too much of a hiccup with that. I also have this little Python script. I absolutely hate Python, but this is to auto increment the version number. I chose Python specifically because I was trying to like bash it into the project building system where you package the game. But I have this little dialog box, which I should have used Slate looking back. I'm pretty sure it's this dialog box that's causing the issues I get. I'm not too sure, but I just don't believe the engine likes its own dialog boxes, which I completely accept. I hate them also. Just look at this. Terrible. Before I continue, I'd also like to promote my Ko-Fi. It's by far my most active social media. You can follow for free, and donating is completely optional. Here I share pretty much anything I want, but it's mostly updates. If I gain a decent following, this is where like polls and things would be. Most of my interactions and everything. Lastly, this little weekly project that's expanding and expanding and expanding, ever more burdening me, is the inventory. Much like the building system, I created it as a component. The inventory system has a similar thing happening that the plants do with like its data registry. The inventory is made up of inventory slots. The slots don't really have the data, but the slots have a integer that acts as an index to the registry. The slot is nothing but a proxy. Now, I did add a weight system. I was considering just allowing you to hold everything, but that would become really burdensome because how I kind of want to structure the plants and everything is I want it to mostly be user pushed. All the like plant evolutions and stuff, there might be like thousands of them, and that's just not really too feasible. Since I made it as an inventory component, I can easily just toss it onto another actor like this and create a storage system. Now, if I just interact with this, it creates another actor. Or no, it doesn't. What am I saying? If I interact with this actor, it brings up a new menu, and this menu allows me to transfer things between them. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. I'm probably not going to do weekly. There's just like not really too much you can get done in 1 week. I will probably be posting more updates. Thank you for letting me ramble on. I know it's nothing too exciting, but if you enjoyed my little rambling, subscribe to get notified when I upload a new video. Also, my Ko-Fi will be linked down below if you want to check out. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.